go. Well, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope we always do. But before we get started, I got to say good morning to these two gentlemen that's already here with us this morning, bright and early and bushy tail. Ain't that how they say them them old folks say bushy tail? Captain Leonard, good. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Ryan, and the Morning Glow family.
And Badger, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Getting
Oh Lord.
another
Oh
beautiful.
Lord.
What?
Man, come on, man.
I was just making my first cup of coffee.
Man, come on, man. You should have had your call for 3 o'clock this morning.
I wish I. I didn't go to sleep until 1.
Oh, okay. Well, look, we get and we also have with us on the phone line. The phone lines are wide open. All you have to do is give us a call 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Brother Pete, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. How you doing this morning, DKM Radio?
Hey, doing
Good
Panel, listening
morning,
audience.
sir.
Morning Glow.
doing well. We're gonna kick this thing off this morning. This is Way Out Wednesday, man. This is Way Out Wednesday. We're gonna kick this thing off with a question, man. That I heard something. Yes, I think it was yesterday, or yeah, I think it was yesterday, day before yesterday. There was a conversation, and then Whoopi Goldberg. She came back and she said something about a similar topic, and she got a lot of backlash behind it, and she had to come back and apologize and all kind of things. You know how they do on the TV. You have image control and stuff like that to protect your brand. But I got a question, Leonard. Kicking it off with you.
Mm-hmm.
If we talk, let's talk about slavery for a second. If we talk about slavery for a second, how much of slavery, what percentage, if you could put a percentage on it, of slavery was based on race, or was any of it based on race at all? Was it more economics?
It was race based because if it was about economics, you would have enslaved white people as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was race. The, the,
Mm,
the, the whole thing about it was the fact that who can we take to
mm,
do this work? What will the rest of the world allow?
mm.
But the taking of black and brown people.
So it was targeted and strategic in the way that it was done.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was. First of all, they had to demean your character and existence,
Mm-hmm.
and that effort had already started during exploration, when people
Mm-hmm.
would come back and report what they saw, who were there, and things of that nature. So it developed from there to demean those individuals of African descent.
Mm-hmm.
Once they were able to demean those people, they were able to take certain liberties. Like, if I can make someone think that you're less than a human being, and I can
Mm-hmm.
get them to believe that, I can get them to support and justify taking you and enslaving you.
Wow.
And
Wow.
this is how it started, and this is how it
Mm-hmm.
became acceptable. The world found it acceptable to enslave
Mm-hmm.
people,
Mm,
and that's what they did.
mm,
Specifically, when you have the money and the power from the crown and the church to do so,
mm-hmm.
that's what they did.
Mm. Okay. Badger, what do you say to that, Badger? Do you think how much of it was based on race and how much of it was based on, say, a thing like economics? And for, I want to say good morning to a couple of people before we get started. Adam, Lou, Bobby, what's that? Low. We got Miss Mimi. We got Javier. We got quite a few people that's joining in this morning. Thank you for joining us. Phone lines are open 508-924-3521. We'd love to have your input. But Badger, what do you say to that? How much of slavery was based on race?
I think it's 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
They'd figure out a race or group of people that they could treat like absolute trash
Mm-hmm.
and get them to do things for them. So it
Mm-hmm.
depended, I guess, the people in power want to stay in power. They don't want
Mm-hmm.
people to get along, and they're going to use whatever means necessary to stay rich. So if
Mm-hmm.
that's in uh, being racist to drive the economic state, they're going to be racist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've always it's people in power do really nasty things.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So depending on what era you're in, it's going to decide who's going to hate who,
Mm.
and depending on who they're hating, it's also going to show. There's also other things of okay, who's going to be the slaves and who ain't.
Mm-hmm.
In this era, black people were slaves.
Why do you think they selected the black people?
Man, I've dug as much as I could into it and talked to other people I know that's dug into it. And it being a mixture of respecting human life, um, that's why they didn't fight off the white man. Black people had the mark of Cain, so they were just less than. It's from my understanding, there's multiple things that people have used or have said that cause things to become the way that they were.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say,
Mm-hmm.
well, we learned from Egypt, and some people said that learned from Europe, and it's just eh, I don't know if anyone truly knows what the like initial reasons were. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
wording that right.
Africa, yeah, remember Africa had already had a system of slavery.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens was when historically, what would happen during battles and whatever, the losing people would be taken under control.
Mm-hmm.
And then those people that had been taken under control once the European colonization started, when these countries would come and visit, these are some of the things that they would trade.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you this for that. Those people who had slaves would trade their slaves because this was a common practice in many cultures. Now, it was not a lot like chattel slavery that developed many years later in the Americas.
Mm-hmm.
It was different.
So it was explain to me the differences.
Well, one of the major differences was before a lot of labor and things
Mm-hmm.
like that were usually the British system of what we talked about the other day, and I corrected someone. Servitude. What do you call it? Indentured servitude.
And then, yeah, yeah.
That does not work very well
Mm-hmm.
because the majority of indentured servants were European immigrants. And the whole thing about indentured servitude was to pay your trip over here to the Americas. That's why you became an indentured servant. You were not paid. You were given in exchange for your labor a trip over here and things of that nature. That was indentured servitude. But that's
Mm-hmm.
a voluntary program, you know, or people who went into debt could so-called pay their debts this way. That's what indentured servitude was. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
Africans. What happened is that one, you already had an issue. Like, say, for instance, if I had destroyed this other group of people over there in Africa and fought them, and I would take their after they lost, I would take them as slaves because I won the fight. And if
Mm-hmm.
someone came to me and had something else and said, I said, Tip, take these slaves and give me that gun.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Take the slaves, or say, for instance, something as simple as wine, textiles, and things like that. People would trade people
Mm-hmm.
for them. Now, I know you all want to think you all had this great love for mankind, and I told you all about that thing that you all made up in your heads,
Mm-hmm. Come on.
that there was somehow this massive peace all over the world. It wasn't. It
Mm-hmm.
never. It never. There's very little documentation on that ever, and there ever being this Earth utopia that you all mentioned, where everybody liked each other and got along. I don't ever remember that in history.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not what you think as far as how could someone be so inhuman? It was not a concern then.
Mm-hmm.
That was not a concern. These people were property because of they were usually taken. And then it just came turned into outright, hey, we can go hunt them down and get them ourselves. Because we can subdue them. They're not prepared for our type of fighting.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even expecting us. So it was easy to go in and capture people that were unaware of what was going on. A white man walking around in the woods was something a little different
Mm-hmm.
because it was hunting them. That's what they were doing. They were hunting them and
Wow.
capturing.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow.
When the police ain't coming, don't nobody care what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody coming to stop them. So this became common practice with colonization. Hey, if we want to build a colony, we need people to work it. Guess what? I heard about these people where you can go get people and pay for them, and they'll bring them from over there and break them and get them to work over here. And you can
Mm-hmm.
do whatever you want to them.
Wow. Wow. And that within itself, to me, and this is just me talking, I could be totally off base. I think that's very inhumane. But we got a few people on the phone lines. Let me go to our first on the phone line. My brother Pete, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Doing good, sir. How about you?
Hey, doing good. The mark of Cain. It was said in the discussion this morning that the black people had the mark of Cain. What do you know of that?
Theory, rhetoric. I've heard Cain. I've heard Ham, Esau, Edom, all kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, um, I'm familiar somewhat with the subject matter, but it's not something that I've ever given a great credence to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, we are familiar with it.
Mm-hmm. Good deal. Now, question is slavery. How much of it was based on racism, and how much of it was based on economics? What do you say? What is your take on that?
Well, it's always based on economics,
Mm-hmm.
money, profit, commerce.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're just not taking the people to put them in the area and leave them there and contain them. You're taking something from them when you do that. You're not only taking them, you're usually taking something of theirs,
Mm-hmm.
and you're utilizing it. You're doing something with it that's benefiting you.
Mm-hmm.
So even moving them out the way is a benefit to you, and it tends to lead straight to financial benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always about domination, power, money. But then it also involves race or ethnicity. That comes into play. When these folks came to North America, or just a wide open, somewhat considered undeveloped land, the narrative said they were running from tyranny in England, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to have the freedom of religion.
Yes.
But then you came here and you ended up terrorizing people.
Mm-hmm.
You ended up deceiving people. You ended up taking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It don't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. to you. So you had the intent. Was it by default? We can't survive, so we got to take what they have.
Mm-hmm. Now, Pete.
Most of these people are easily entreated, friendly, caring type folk that are, give you something. Now, of
Mm-hmm.
course, a stranger coming into your village and you don't know them, and they have something that look like weapons, that's gonna set off an alarm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
But for the most part, if you look like you're stumbling up in here and you can barely move, I think in most cases they would render aid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then
Exactly.
why would you end up taking their stuff? When
Mm-hmm.
you talked about Whoopi, right? And everybody's so cautious about talking about the Jewish people and that narrative. And she sounds like she overspoke. She has to deal with that.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, her last name is Goldberg.
Yeah.
She should know the narrative with a last name like Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that sticks out to me, horrific stuff that these people's lineage, yeah, the story of the Holocaust and all that they went through. But to show your consideration and love for humanity, you get placed in their area by the League of Nations and turn around and do the same thing to another people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, that's that's where she said it's the inhumanity of man, right? But it's
Yes.
still inhumanity across the board. Come on, I don't think everybody that considers themselves or is a Jew or whatever thinks all the same. It looks at everything the same way. Don't throw them all in one pot.
Mm-hmm.
But for the government to do the Palestinians like the Palestinians are done, having a history that the Jews have, I would think the Jewish people would be the peacemakers on planet Earth after having a history of something called the Holocaust.
Mm-hmm.
I would think whenever somebody says it's about to be a war, you know who's going to step up first? About 1 million of these people that we call Jews. And they're going to give you a light conversation about why you do not want to go to war.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Wow.
they have a horrible history of the trauma of all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And if don't nobody else understand it, they do, and they can help you get it. Some of them folks are still alive that was around back then,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's the hypocrisy of not just
Thank you.
them, but of everything, the subject matter, and all of us as living beings are in humanity to one
Mm-hmm.
another.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Raheem, I thought the word and it jumped right out of his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Once
What's that?
again, hypocrisy.
Mm-hmm.
They complain on one hand and they get so offended. The Jews,
Yeah.
the so-called Jews,
Mm-hmm.
that get so offended about everything,
Mm-hmm.
had no problem assimilating with whites and perpetuating the system of white supremacy the way they have.
Mm.
So,
I
so,
like.
so it, I understand. Whoopi's business is her business. She the one made a mistake. Like I say, her name is Whoopi Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
That's her. That's the name she's been using. So
Mm-hmm.
she knows the significance of Jewish history and things of that nature. But one, she was probably speaking more to the fact of what predated Hitler and why people started feeling a certain way about the Jews.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
Jews were believed to be the chosen people. So they wanted really the power that supposedly these Jews were given as the chosen people of God originally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, man will do what man will do.
Exactly.
Man was
Exactly.
like one when you all are talking about the utopia or what have no, men have always fought for power. It was so easy to take Africans for the very simple fact you have to remember, and this is one of Africa's problems today: the lack of unity.
Mm-hmm.
You can't defend if you're a tribe with maybe 200 or 300 people at the most. You can't defend yourself against an invading, colonizing army.
Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm.
So those things we have to understand. And one, we're looking at what people don't talk about it, but if you're going to study history, study it. And how remember I was saying that it was the Portuguese who
Mm-hmm.
eventually started dehumanizing
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
from the continent.
Exactly.
And they were
Exactly.
the ones that brought the first and say, hey, look what we got. Then it became popular. Then you got, of course, Britain and France being most involved because they were very wealthy and were doing a lot of colonizing at the time. So they took advantage of that. And they didn't care what happened to the to enslaved people that they enslaved and sent over to America. They didn't care.
Yeah.
They didn't
Yeah.
have the same concern that you all would talk about contemporarily today. Think about it. Now, if you just mention Jews and they don't like what you say, now they upset.
Yeah. Asking Nick Cannon, asking Nick Cannon about that. How they would try and shut you down and
But
have
there
you
are
go
some great books.
world. Huh?
Wait. There are some good books out here, especially those with the brother that just recently passed here, Desmond Tutu, and things like that, who did things with, I think, Mr. Lerner. And they wrote books about the relationships between blacks and Jews and things of that nature.
Good deal. Good deal. Let me go. We got quite a few people on the phone line. I want to touch the people that's on the phone line and ask them this question and get their take on it. Next call, I think, was Curtis. Curtis, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Well, what's going on?
What's up, man? Hey, doing good, doing good. Asking the question, Curtis, how much of slavery was based on racism, and how much of it was based on economics? What did you say it was?
All of it was based on economics. Racism was just a fuel. Racism was used as the justification for corruption. That's all. I mean, in my opinion, racism was just a catalyst in the economic rise of a particular group of people.
So you say it was, if you had to put a percentage on it, would you say it was like 70% economics and 30% something else? How would you play that?
I mean, if I put a percentage on it, it was 70% is being nice. It's probably 92%, probably 95% economic, and 5% racism.
Wow.
But racism is so heinous that what happens is you pay more attention to the racism than you do the fact that this man out here stealing your land out back. He's standing in your face, calling you nigga, beating your wife, all kinds of things. You paying more attention to that. But you're not paying attention to the fact that he got one of his boys down at the magistrate office signing that paperwork to take your land.
Wow. That's good. That's good. And like I said, I think this topic, we're gonna go real deep on this thing, man. Mary, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. I have nothing to say on the matter. However, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Leonard, coming back to you, Leonard. Curtis said it was like 70%. What 80 actually said, he said 70, they said that was being generous. He said possibly about 95% economics and 5% racism. How does those numbers play with you?
Well, first of all, I don't play with numbers. I mean, if I ain't do the work, I don't give you no numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So it is there were several reasons for it. You have to remember, race was not as big an issue in the beginning of the trade.
Mm-hmm.
It was about what was available and what they could get to work. So once someone proved that it could be done, the more people started doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Race, as you think about it, was not the issue. It was, who can we take like this?
Mm-hmm.
And there, once again, like say for instance, even with this was playing out today with the resources, where can we where can we exploit our power the most? On the continent of Africa. And so that's why people choose what they choose and the resources that are there. Even right now, I've always told myself, they got these stages set, and we can talk about how much we hate China and think remember China was the big dragon, and you know how the propaganda they taught y'all to
Oh
hate
yeah.
the Chinese and all
Mm-hmm.
that because the Chinese was so bad. I believe that the America has been supporting the Chinese by proxy for many years
Mm-hmm.
to go in and rape the continent of Africa because we don't want to look that bad.
Mm-hmm.
China
Don't,
don't care.
don't want to be the bad guy.
Right, but see, China don't mind being the bad guy, and China will go in there and suck every bit of them resources out of that land, raw, cultivate them and everything, and get them into finished products, and send them over here to American markets
Mm-hmm. And capitalize on it.
and capitalize on it.
I
That's the
mean,
way you
people
do
got to
it.
have them blood diamonds.
That's the way you would do it. I don't,
Mm-hmm.
when people say, I don't see how they could think about it. That's why you do it.
Mm-hmm.
You get
Mm-hmm.
somebody else to do your dirty work, and you support that effort behind closed doors, and then
Just
tell
another
the
way.
world something else.
Just another way of throwing a rock and hiding your hand, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And so
Mm-hmm.
once you think about it in rationally, with your rational mind instead of your emotional mind, you will begin to understand it better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was easier what they did. You
Mm.
understand? We got to remember these people of Africa's history predates all this by thousands of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
they had went through ups and downs and empires and things of that nature. And those few empires that were still left was the last strongholds. And see, this is why you didn't have many people come from certain regions because those regions were able to fight off people, those
Mm-hmm.
people or those kingdoms to a point. But before you knew it, a lot of them fell as well later on. But the slaves came from those people that were separate.
Mm-hmm. One of the reasons why, and doing a little research on this myself, we got another caller. Good to go to the caller. One of the changing just while staying the same. One of the reasons why a lot of people hate Haitians so much is because they was able to fight off. I think it was the British that came over and try to invade their land, and they fought them off, got them up out of there. And because of that reason, now they're saying Haiti is such a terrible place. Nah, they fought you, man. They beat you. They beat you.
Well,
And
but see, when you lack organization,
mm-hmm,
it's going to be hard to build.
mm-hmm,
I don't care who you are, what color you are.
mm-hmm,
And then if you have people destined to keep you from building and make it more difficult, that's a problem as well.
mm-hmm,
So as long as, like, as I say, for instance, once you begin to study history, you'll say, well, why did they take those people from Africa?
mm-hmm.
Lack of unity. They couldn't
Wow.
protect themselves. They did the
Mm,
best they could. Think about it. If I could go, and even if you watch your history movies with Europe, same thing. You got little civilizations of 100, 200 people here and there with some soldiers with swords and everything. You can go in there and kill all them people and take what you want,
mm-hmm,
especially if they're not prepared to fight. So
mm-hmm.
this is what happens. Bigger people, more powerful people come,
Bullies,
right,
bullies.
and destroy other people and take their land.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Wow,
the way it
wow.
works. That's why you
Yeah.
always have to have a gun. That's why you always have to be ready to fight. Because think about it, if there were no police.
Mm-hmm.
No police at all.
It'll be a mess. Wild, wild west.
Because people would take what they want to take.
Exactly. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We'd love to have your input. Got quite a few people that's coming in on the phone lines. Want to be able to touch each and every one of them. Cassandra, I think you was next in line. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, we're asking a question. How much of slavery was based on racism and how much of it was based on economics? What did you say it was, Cassandra?
No, it was definitely economics, the biggest reason for it. And if you look at the map of the continents, right?
Mm-hmm.
There were other places that they could have gone to get slaves.
Mm-hmm.
So what made them feel like Africa was the place?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You got to think about that, because there were Latino, uh, continent, places where it was mainly Latinos. You have the the European. So what is it about Africa? And I agree with Leonard. The lack of uh, uh, unity, I think, played a huge part in it, because remember, there were tribes
Mm-hmm.
set up, and they were fighting even among each other. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
But the bottom line, I believe they had bound together when they saw what was happening, and like, oh heck no, y'all not coming over here.
Yeah.
Uh, everybody, we gonna come together and we gonna fight these people off. Even if
Mm-hmm.
they may have guns, but we can set them up. We know the land. We
Mm-hmm.
can set them up and kill them off with what we've been using, spears or whatever we were using to fight among each other. We could have used to defeat them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was a lack of unity
Wow.
that made it easy.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's good. That's good. And I got another question. I'm gonna back behind this question right here, but I want to touch everybody with this particular question. Toya with a T. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, good morning. How you doing?
Hey, doing good, doing good. Sis, I need to hear your heart on this. Well, how much of it you think was racism, and how much you think was economics, slavery?
All of it. you know, um, let me just throw a little something out there, right? Because when we sell drugs to our own people, is it for racism or economics?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So I can understand some of the theories on why some people feel like they're not racist. It was just economics.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. You know what I'm saying? Prostitutes, you do think they do it because they're racist or they're economics. You know what I'm saying? So everything doesn't have to be race based, right? But I believe that when it comes to different cultures and different ethnicities, that doesn't. So I work with Thai people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And their unity is different, right? They could mess up. They can be sorry, right? They cannot do something, and it's okay for each other. But neither one of other races, they cannot. You cannot mess up. You can't do the same thing, and it's like a universal racism that they didn't get from America.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about culture sticking together, and I've noticed that. You know what I'm saying? And I think subconsciously they don't see it's racial, but it's race based because y'all are allowing each other to do things. But then when it comes to me and someone else, you hold us to a different standard. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And I don't think that they even, so some of them are not even, they're still working on their visas and stuff. So they don't understand all of our, racist background, right? They know about it, but I don't think they acknowledge it. But it's just like a way of life,
Mm-hmm.
right? Most Latinos stick together. Like it's the instinct that they stick together.
Mm-hmm.
Most Asians, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's because I guess what survival, right? But so I'm not gonna say that it's either more race or either more economics.
Mm-hmm.
I think we humans we go for what's I guess easiest. You know what I'm saying? And you're right. There at that time, we got to think about the lies they told. The Columbus in 1492 blue thing sailed around the world. See, those were stories. But
Mm-hmm.
there were still black people. And I know when they sailed, he wasn't sailing for no daggone spices. They was trying it. You know what I'm saying? Going here, going there, trying different places to see, who can be conquered. And probably, unfortunately, the Indians and, the Africans probably were the most naive.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm.
when you listen at the story, like you just said about Haiti, I had a thought in my head a couple of minutes ago, and I'm going to wrap it up, a couple of months ago, about our people in America, the state of Black America. And I said to myself this, if we have put the power of our lives more in white people in government than God, we deserve everything we get.
Mm. Mm.
Because if God told us to be free and stand up and fight like Haiti, and we chose not to, oh no, I'm so scared. Oh, they're gonna kill me. Oh, they're gonna take my job. Oh, they're gonna burn my house down. That's why we're in the situation that we're in right now, black folks in America.
Wow. Let me go to
You
Toussaint.
understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Toussaint. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Doing well. How about you?
Hey, doing good, man. I need to hear your heart on the question, man. How much of it is based on economics and how much of it is based on racism? Talking about slavery.
I don't know. I was trying to think about, and I was trying to look and see how far slavery went back.
To the Pharaoh days.
Okay, so now that's where I went back to, and it was because there was a certain people that kept multiplying, and the fear was if we have a war and those people join with our enemies, they're gonna overtake us. So they put hard taskmasters over them.
Mm-hmm.
So was it an act of fear? Because there were so many of them, and the thought was, the more we oppress them, it's possible that if they be in bondage, we'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Was it beneficial to them? Sure. You get somebody to work for free, you don't have to spend money paying them to get it done. So there was economics. It worked out economically, but I don't know if that was the reason. Now racism, and it's just me now. I'm not too bright, but I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a sense of some people think they just superior to another one because they feel everybody think that they are God's chosen people.
Yeah.
When you start thinking that you closer to God than anybody else because of how you look, I think the problem starts.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And you get the big head. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at them. I mean, we're the superior race. Since when?
Mm-hmm.
When did you come up with that? Who told you that?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, we are. Finally, we find out after research and we've been reading, we are God's chosen people. Finally, if you don't know where you come from, you don't know who you are, you'll never get anywhere, and you always have the slave mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I asked a question. Did God tell you that? Did God tell you his chosen people? Did God tell you that? Where'd you get that from?
Where
Who
you
told
find
you?
that? That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And see, the thing that we do is what gets us into a bondage is ignoring God. And I say that like that because there are so many people that discredit there being any God.
Mm-hmm.
That's on you.
I think he froze up, Lenny.
Of course, he he was just trying to just notice that. My
Did
man
you actually
Tucson.
listen to Whoopi Goldberg's, like, what she was actually saying?
No, I actually read her comment, and she came back and she apologized because she said it was not about race. And one, it does not matter what you say. If you say, if you're on an American airway and you mention Jew and Holocaust in the same sentence, it's going to trigger a response.
Well, like I actually like found the clip that shows like the whole little segment of all, not just that comment, but all the words that surround that comment. And she was like trying to point out the inhumanity of the situation.
Mhm.
And I think she was probably trying to get to a point of, that's kind of how we still treat each other. But
Right,
she also made a comment that, it wasn't about race because Jews were also white.
right. Because from what I read about it, it's much to do about nothing. It's the same old issue. Like I said before, it's not so much about what you say. If you say the words Jew and Holocaust in the same sentence, they're going to listen and they're going to respond some type of way because they
So,
want to control any and everyone else's opinion about the
Oh,
Holocaust.
it's Groundhog Day, isn't it?
There we go.
And so
Yes, it
when
is.
they if you're in the power to do something, people usually do it. That is very
Groundhog was
right.
canceled, by the way.
Go
Hmm.
ahead. I
The
mean,
groundhog died and wasn't, and they couldn't find a replacement.
I'm not really sure what you just said, Badge.
Talking about the groundhog today being Groundhog Day.
He's dead,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. They said the
Yeah, they
groundhog.
didn't find a replacement.
So we don't know what we're gonna have in the next 6 weeks. But anyway, let's go back to the phone lines, man. And I'm loving this conversation and where we're going with it. I want to touch back basically with Cassandra. Before I do that, public citizen, I believe you're with us this morning. Public citizen,
Yeah.
good.
Morning. Okay, everyone's back on the line?
Yes,
Hello?
yes. Everybody's back up. Good morning.
I'm
How you
getting an
doing this
echo.
morning? You getting an echo?
What? You guys hear an echo?
Anybody hear an
Yeah,
echo?
Yeah,
I
there's
don't.
somebody's phone out muted.
Huh? Somebody's phone not muted. Everybody mute your lines. Yeah, that's probably what it is. Somebody's line not muted. But public citizen, what do you say to this, man? How much of slavery is based on racism, and how much of it is based on economics?
Okay. So yeah, I still getting a weird echo. Anyway, I'll just talk over it, even though it's distracting me. Yeah, I thought about this topic in the past, and there's a really important book that really changed my mind on these topics about like colonialism and why why did these things happen? Why did slavery happen, and why did colonialism happen, and all the exploitation, and all that? And racism, obviously, that's a huge part of it. The economics was a huge part of it. You think back to like the Spanish when they came over, and they came with just greed in their hearts, right? And they didn't care about the human beings that they were gonna, they didn't think of them as human beings. They thought of them as like some kind of animal almost, right? And that's where white supremacy comes from. But okay, so here's the book, and it's a real hard book. I've been like working on it for a long time, but and also there's some YouTube videos on it. It's Guns, Germs, and Steel. Okay, and basically it's a theory that the reason that the Europeans were able to conquer non-white people, more else, basically Native Americans and Africans. It was because of geography. So the difference between Africa and Europe in terms of resources is massive. So the theory goes that Africa has a very small number of domesticable animals, right? Like if you go to Europe, there's cows, there's goats, there's pigs, all these different animals. And there's all these domesticable crops. So that led to a huge technological advantage. If you're able to, harness these things, you're able to have an agricultural revolution. And over time, that leads to a technological revolution. You could start have a division of labor and all these other things. it's very complicated, to get into all of it. But basically, it debunks all these white supremacist, narratives that we've been told are lies, or we weren't told anything. So we were left to figure like, okay, well, maybe my people just aren't as good. And this book debunks all that stuff. So I highly recommend that. Really, really changed my mind. I'm glad it opened my eyes to understanding that there's reasons for things. It's not because my ancestors were less than.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's okay. That's good, and I'm loving the different perspective that everybody is coming from with this particular topic, because it really is a touchy subject, but I think we're handling it very well. Everybody mute your line. We got some background noise coming from somebody's line. Everybody mute your line for me. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
No, everyone gave, I really don't have anything to add because I think everyone pretty much covered, the different perspectives on looking at why, how, the slavery came about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad to say that we have a form of slavery still going on today, and
Mm-hmm.
and we just have to we have to stand up for our rights and make sure that we're not put in bondage. There are other ways of being put in bondage other
Mm-hmm.
than being physically a
Mm-hmm.
slave. So I'll just leave that there.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this question. I'm gonna take this question around to a few people as well. Are there still any benefits? Are there still any benefits that some individuals or have in their pocket, if you will, based on slavery today? Cassandra?
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we think about it, and I know everyone on here knows that the Industrial Revolution came as a result of slavery, and this country has built on that since that time.
Mm-hmm.
What the slaves did, the amount of money that they brought into the country, people are still living. There are families that are still living off of that today
Mm-hmm.
in this country. So,
Wow. Wow.
yeah, there's still benefits.
Curtis, what do you say to that?
What do I say to what?
Now, the question I just asked, bro.
Okay, what was the question again?
Okay. Is some people still benefiting from slavery today?
Oh, that's what I thought you asked. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And he just Cassandra, if she really went into details, she could probably give you some names.
Mm.
That's right there in that low country. That's oh God. Oh Lord have mercy. Man, I remember taking a cross-cultural perspectives class. And I had a professor, and he gave our first day of class. He kind of went around the class, and he was pecking people. He had done, looked at other people's grades. He did his research on folks. He was pecking people, but I had already heard about him from one of the seniors, so they had already told me what to expect. So, I was, everybody kind of understood I was that type that, okay, look, you can come at me and it's all gravy. You know what I mean? I can hear what you're saying and take out what I think is right and, what I think is wrong. I don't deal with it. But I did my homework on this guy. So he came at me. I'll never forget it. He came the first day of class. What he used to peck at folks was he said, how many of y'all in this class believe in reparations? And I was kind of surprised because I was the only black male in the class. But the class was like half and half, it was like 15, 20 people.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was the only one to raise my hand. Me, no, that's a lie. Me and this German lady, we was the only two people to raise our hand.
Mm-hmm.
So he asked us something, and she kind of stumbled. And so then he asked me, so you believe in reparations? And I said, yeah. He said, oh, so you believe in getting something for nothing? But see, that was his way to peck. But what he didn't know, that I had did my homework on him. I said, well, what do you mean? You got something for nothing, didn't you? Oh, what are you talking about? I said, well, your family been owning slaves since 1580. They've been slave owners since 1580, brother. Did you not know that? You know, so y'all got free labor. You got to eat for free. You you got that plantation home built for free. Here is something I did want to say that I heard earlier. The slaves was in some beliefs, in some teachings. You got to understand the Africans was considered master builders. They was considered the masters of civilization. Everywhere around the globe, even out to the Orient, there's historical data and visual proof, i.e. statues, drawings on walls, paintings on walls of Africans who had migrated to those areas and had actually taught these people how to properly have a civilization. So there's academic beliefs
3 minutes, Kurt.
and academic studies. All right, well, I'm good.
Okay, we'll come back. We'll come back to you. We gotta keep it flowing, man. I want to make sure everybody's actually able to get in here. Badger, you wanted to say something as well. What's on your heart, Badger?
Oh man, that question you just asked. Can you say it again?
Are there people that still benefiting from slavery today?
Oh man, I mean, have you not looked at the American government? I mean, well, see, that's a matter of perspective too, because some people don't consider the illusions and mind control and misdirections and altering the economic state as slavery. So, you got to figure out what is it, and then you got to look at, in other countries, there's still them people that are being forced to dig up diamonds. There are, I forgot, child labor, where they're forcing kids to make things. So if a person can figure out how to get somebody to do something for little to nothing, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing about people in power. So if it's not slavery, they're going to figure out some other way to do it. As long as they're going to figure out whatever they can so it doesn't hurt their pockets. It's just inhumane things. It's greed. How can I make a fortune and hurt other people in the process?
Wow.
Because to be peaceful as a human race across the board, you can't be greedy. So as long as greed exists, we'll never have peace.
Exactly.
Somebody will always be hurt or enslaved or kept separate.
That's good.
So
that's good.
That's my opinion, at least, of like the way a lot of things are nowadays. Because when you look at the current state, of just using America, so many people are upset about the repairs, like y'all told me to say yesterday. And I've been trying to find out more of why people are upset, and most people, most of the people I've talked to, is how is it going to affect the economy for everyone? So it's greed, economics. Yes, we should, give something.
3 minutes, Badger.
Go ahead.
Okay. And I'm doing that for a reason, man, because I want to make sure that we keep it flowing. Because we got a lot of people that's actually on. I'm listening in and stuff like this. So I want to make sure I incorporate everybody in. Cassandra, I'm going in this direction. Cassandra, Toya with a T, and then Pete. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
You know, Badger just, and I want to say this and I'm done. Badger, you know, I know his background as far as what he's told us.
Mm-hmm.
And when you take the native in this country and the indigenous people,
Mm-hmm.
look at how their land was stolen. Look at how it's still being taken today. Water rights and land rights and oil, all this stuff that we overlook. You know, people act like it's no big deal. They're using it for America. I don't care. That land belongs to them, and they should make the decision
Mm-hmm.
as to how the land is being used.
Mm-hmm.
They should make that decision. But the government is literally taking the land that belonged to them that they said they could have, and now taking it and doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
No, and it's not right. It's, you know, regardless of how you dress it up or try to make it look pretty and all that little stuff they try to do from time to time, it's certainly not right. Let me go to Toya with a T. Toya with a T. What's on your heart, sis?
Yeah, you know, so the Willie Lynch whole concept was something that was going to work. We talked about this slightly yesterday about dead man rule still prevailing.
Mm-hmm.
The ideology of people who are dead. And this is like what we're living in our time today, right? This is the backdraft of one person's wicked deeds for money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can imagine it going down like this. Well, we gave you some land. What else do you want? Let's just go back to the slavery concept. And how they did this 400 years ago, 600 years ago, 1,000 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
how humans were. Even the Romans did things like that. They went through and they just took stuff. That's one of the reasons why God tells us to pay Caesar what he's due. Pay him them taxes. And we forget about, you know, the dominion that we have as men. It's also the dominion that helped line this Bible. But God is still there, even when we wrong. You know, we act like we don't know that Christians do things wrong. And I'm just going to say this for them fake ones that tried to say in the name of Jesus. They told them, or God's name, they tried to enslave us. But Paul was wrong too.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of them in the Bible that was wrong. And God was still there with people, even though they're wrong, but they had to see the error of their ways. Let's talk about David. Knew he was wrong. But I believe that just like in the Bible, you know, when David killed his homeboy, I think it was David, might be Solomon, one of them kings, killed his homeboy. They had the baby with the girl. When that baby died, he knew why that baby died.
Mm-hmm.
So this day and age is like America and what they're doing. It's not even about America. It's about us humans. It's about us men that God gave dominion and what we're doing with it. These are the last days for them.
Mm-hmm.
And when these things start to happen, they're going to know why, and they're going to know it's due to some of these things they're doing wrong. You don't get to do that. This is God's land, first and foremost.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When they've come, and we men, right? We humans, I'm taking color out the equation. We humans have come and taken God's land from people that he given it to, ordained it to, what he provided for us all to be able to live on, eat from, be clothed from. And then we wonder why we having all these having all these storms and global warming. And I mean, it's a lot going on other than just worrying about being black in America and getting killed by white people. It's so much going on in this world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we're still being distracted by things like color, but we're not understanding as humans the things we do.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? It's not just about white people. It's not about America. Where you stand for your family and this generational gap has a lot to do with the things that happen to us, whether it be
3 minutes, Toya.
Challenge, being murdered. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that in this day and age, we have to pay attention to our power and the power as people, We have to take it back from these people that we know are wicked. Period. Point blank. If they're coming to take your land, you know what you better do?
Mm-hmm.
Ante up.
Oh,
if they're
Toya.
coming to kill your kids, you know what you better do? Ante up.
Exactly. Hold on,
Period.
Toya. 3 minutes. Toya, I gotta keep it rolling. Hold on. Don't go nowhere. Stay right there where you at. I'm gonna bring. We got another caller on the line. Rico. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Man, I can complain. How's everybody doing?
Hey, doing good, doing good. We're talking about slavery this morning, and the first question I asked was slavery based on racism or economics? And now we're at a point where we're talking about how are the people still today that's benefiting from the acts of slavery back in the day? Are there people that's still benefiting, Rico? What do you say to that? Give me 3 minutes.
Yeah, I'm glad you stuck to that question because I really didn't get that answer too much after you asked it. So I thought I was right when you asked that question. First off, let me say congratulations and welcome to a beautiful new day to everybody.
Yes, sir. Congratulations.
You first have to think and understand what slavery is. And slavery is the system of stratification.
Mm-hmm.
Stratification system. That's what I don't know what made that come up. I looked it up and I'm gonna tell you what that word stratification system means, so we can have a better idea of how to break slavery down a little simpler. This is it's a system that puts people on the bottom of the totem pole pretty much, and it's justified to keep them under control. So you ask, do people still benefit from it? Well, they benefit from it because it was economic. Here it is. Stratification is an economic system based on wealth, the net value of money and assets a person has, and income a person's wages or investment dividends. White people are regularly categorized based on how rich or poor they are. Other important factors influence social standing. So you know what those other important factors are. Race, tribe. So now we think about that system and then we think about the word slavery and how it evolved. After abolition and after Reconstruction, we start thinking about debtors court, peonage, black codes. Now we look at incarceration, the prison system. See, when you first asked that question, I was like, man, that's pretty absurd. Nobody benefiting from slavery. They benefiting from racism, and they obviously benefiting from that, even if it's just for comfort reasons, because they participating in it still. Look at Brian Flores and what he said in his lawsuit. But then I had to go back and really think about it. The black codes, peonage, debtors court. I think about all the innocent people that's getting out of prison and how financially profitable that is to get these convictions and have the state make money off of these bodies in prison. And then the corporations come in and get this cheap labor. So it evolved. And here it is. Sometimes we think we live in a better situation, that things are better, and we'll get mad when people say we still in slavery. When really and truly we have to understand everything evolves. Everything. And that's going to continue to evolve. And if you're not careful, you will be living under those same ideologies. The only thing is it looks a little bit cuter.
Wow. Good deal. And you didn't even take the whole 3 minutes. Good deal, brother. Charles, good morning. How you doing this morning?
What's up, brother? What's going on?
Hey, doing good, doing good. We asked the question, man. First, was slavery based on racism or was it based on economics? And secondly, are there still people today that's benefiting from this slavery thing that we're talking about? 3 minutes.
You mean slavery in America, right?
Yes.
All right. Because we still know slavery is still going on in the world. We do know that. Nobody's that ignorant to not know that. Now, slavery was based off of economics in the beginning. All right? Proof, not just saying it. The proof is that, and it wasn't about race until race was used to keep slavery going. Race is a trick. The skin color is a trick to keep slavery going, meaning it made lower level white people, it tricked them to believe that they were better than the slaves when they were also slaves too. So it kept it going. It was about economics because it was about money. During the slave trade, and even after the slave trade was over, slavery was still going on in Africa, on the African continent, by people, black people. Okay, when America sent the boats back over with the freed slaves got right back into the slave trade. And people will tell you that they only got into it because that's all they knew. That is not true, because they had to battle the Africans who were already still in the slave trade. That's when the rubber trees and all that type of stuff, they were doing that in Africa. And blacks were highly involved in it. It had nothing to do with race. It might have had something to do with the different cultures of tribes, but nothing about race. In America, it became a race thing because the race controls. If I make you think about race all the time, I can control you. If I make you think about your skin color, I'm talking about white and blacks. Your skin color all the time, I can control you. You don't really see Asians talking about slavery, even though we know there's slavery going on in China right now. But you don't see them dwelling on it because they're all the same color. They have different cultures. They're not the same people. When you go to different regions of China, they're not the same people, but they're the same color. And you have dark China people also. But to answer your question, slavery was based in the beginning off of economics, and it was controlled by race later on, because that's the easy way to do it. It's the easy way to trick you, believing it. As for, are people benefiting from it right now? Just I ditto what Rico said. I just ditto what Rico said because it is, people benefit from not that slavery, but the slavery new, as of in the penal system and all that type of stuff. You know, that stuff is still going on. And another thing, you don't get, and I look at, and I'm not putting the Asians above blacks, but I look at them in a way that the way they do things and the way they came to America and succeed. You don't see them talking about the penal system because they don't go into the penal system. You understand? They don't go into that system because they do the things that you don't. They do the things you
three minutes,
honor and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? They deal
3
with
minutes,
honor and things like that.
Charles, hold on. We got to come back to you. 3 minutes, man. We got to keep this circle. Got to keep this circle going. There's a lot of things I can say about what you said there, but I want to pull everybody into the conversation. Mute your line for me, Charles, if you don't mind. Public citizen, you had a question that you want to ask.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Charles because I think he's more of a conservative. Well, I don't know. One of my questions is does he believe in reparations, and how does he, as a conservative, I'm assuming he's a Republican, how does he, if he does believe in reparations, the Republicans are staunchly opposed to that. How does he remedy that in his own mind, I wonder?
Charles?
Reparations, I believe that blacks are owed reparations because of what they went through. Slaves, I say slaves are owed reparations because they went through. As of paying it out, I don't know how it'll be done. And I'm not going to sit there and whine and cry about reparations. I got to keep moving ahead, because if I keep looking backwards, I can't make it forwards. You know what I'm saying? And to me, how I honestly feel about a white liberal telling me that I need reparations, I think they need to shut them out. That's how I feel about white liberals, because I really don't trust white liberals who advocate for blacks that much. I don't. I don't really trust anybody who advocates for black if you're not black.
Okay.
But I learned that lesson from Malcolm X a long time ago. I just don't.
Cool beans. Brother Pete, what's on your heart, brother?
Well, look, when it comes to power and domination, all of what we're talking about is involved in power and domination. Okay? If I want to be in power over you and I want to dominate you, there are no rules to how I'm going to do it. The objective is to do it, period. And you accomplish it however you accomplish it. When we're talking about slavery, and you want to go specific with the United States, but do understand it extends much further than the boundaries known as the United States. The great majority of people are in slavery, and they have no clue. Rico said it evolves. Everything evolves. It most certainly does. And it's evolving, and it's evolving even now as we speak. And the great majority of people are property. They don't control nothing relative to themselves. They have no idea and no concept of their real positioning in this world today.
Mm-hmm.
So slavery in function is very much alive,
Wow.
very much alive. But just like things are changing, things can change. I'm going to use a statement and say, if you comprehend the subject matter and understand the arena, a form of what we call reparations exists.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you accomplish it? How do you achieve it? Now that's another subject because the system in that area is so vast and so deep and involves so much. And it takes a while. It takes some time
Mm-hmm.
and a whole lot of comprehension. Okay, but we want to understand that these are the things that happen when one decides to dominate another.
Mm-hmm.
Period. This is
Mm-hmm.
what happens. If you're free, then you control everything relative to yourself. And outside of you, there has to be a discussion, an agreement, a negotiation, okay, and an exchange for value for whatever the issues are.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's not the case, you in slavery.
Exactly. Exactly. Tucson, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
I don't have too much, man. Really. I mean, I'm just I'm gonna listen to this one because
Yeah.
um we live in a society where it's okay to even use what other folks work hard for and just profit from it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of confused a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, you know, we make $5 shoes and sell them for $300,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And people buy them.
and let children do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we find a little girl or a little boy, and we make raise them. Well, there are some people call themselves adopt them
Mm-hmm.
and make them take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Rico said, it evolves, and sometimes people just think, "Oh, I'm just doing what I'm told," and then they give them some change, especially if you give them a little change,
Mm-hmm.
or give them a meal or two.
Mm-hmm.
Minimum wage is a form of slavery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I'm just saying. I
Yes.
mean, let me go back to listening.
Hey, good deal. Good deal. Captain Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Oh, just listening to the various uh, responses, but it's good to really do a study of those things that you are concerned about so you can inform yourself
Mm-hmm.
about what the issues may be and how to discuss them to make sure that your conversation is advancing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's we a lot of people should be far beyond myth by now. And you should realize it's a thing, it's a happen, it's a social system. It's a lot more than how you feel and what you think. If everything is how you feel and what you think, trust me, you are limited.
Yeah.
You got to go get more information because there's so much available.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't just be satisfied with what your mama told you or what somebody else told you or what you got from a TV program.
Don't be talking about my mama, man. Don't
You
be talking
know,
about my
I
mama,
won't
man.
only talk about your mama. I will talk about her mama.
Oh, no, hold on. You talking
So,
about my mama now, boy? Hold on now. Hold
you
on now.
know, there are, it's great to hear people, and I hope this sparks interest for people to actually go and study the issues
Mm-hmm.
and then teach yourself how to critically think about this race thing.
Mm-hmm.
Drop your emotions because that hinders your learning and just study it Ask the question and go find the answer to your question and research.
One thing I had to learn the hard way. I had to learn this the hard way, man. When you get angry, you lose.
Yes, you
Whether,
do.
whether you win the fight or not, whether if it's a physical fight, but still, when you get angry, you lose.
When you
You
get
lost.
angry, you lose. When you give up your control, you lose.
Yeah.
Slavery is simply the ownership of one person of on another.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Absolutely.
what slavery is.
Mm-hmm.
And slavery was practiced long before this little issue of America came about.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yep.
very common.
Mm-hmm.
So when you study the history of slavery, you get beyond. I don't see how people could do that. Study it. You'll immediately find out why people do that.
Yeah.
You so lazy. If you could get somebody to do something for you every day and make somebody do something for you, you'd probably do it.
Yep.
Because some of y'all just that lazy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So it's not that one you shouldn't be sitting around in 2023 not wondering how it could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the time. Go read books. Even if you read books about issues at that time, this whole system. But now they want to ban books
Mm-hmm.
because books have this information in them. So go to your books,
Mm-hmm.
read your history, so
Exactly.
you know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Good deal. Good deal. Rico, anything on your heart about this topic, brother? Before we move on.
Yeah, man. It's funny that you brought this question up, man. I think back about when I was young and I was first being taught about slavery, and me, I always been the type of person to read between the line and question, look at the logic and the human benefit to things. And
Mm-hmm.
I heard the comment made about the black people still trading in slavery, and you did have those overlords that did that, but then you still had the colonizers that was overseeing them when America got involved. And then I think about King Leopold. Sometimes we bring up this thing, slavery, and in the process of defining slavery, we still sort of lighten the load of white racist slavery and what America did. That chattel slavery was quite totally more, I ain't going to say quite, it was extremely different
Mm-hmm.
than the regular slavery that the other Africans participated in, and the Asians and whatever other race we want to look at. I mean, we still got to hold the white supremacist culture accountable for the brutality and the extreme inhumane activity that they did. I mean, around the world, everybody knows the type of a slavery that went on in America, and America's ashamed of it. They don't
Mm-hmm.
like that museum down here in Montgomery that everybody coming to, and they leave out of here crying when they
Mm-hmm.
seeing these things. The Holocaust was bad. But let's talk about King Leopold and the 10 million and the little candies that they made with the chocolate hands to signify the people's hands that they cut off just for fun, just because they could. See, Pete kicked it out the park, man, and I said it earlier, that domination and control,
Mm-hmm.
that stratification system. So I had to go back and think, because I remember when I started seeing this about slavery being abolished and this and that and Juneteenth, and I thought to myself, well, you know what, man? America became the most powerful country on the planet just like that off of slavery. And them rich people ain't fixing to give up that fast.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't believe that they gonna give up that fast. Something ain't right. They doing something else. And little by little, I started learning about the things they didn't teach me in school. Debtor's court, peonage, black
Mm-hmm.
codes. I started learning all about that stuff. And I'm like, oh, so that's how they did it. And then I also went and looked and I said, well, you know what? Let me examine this prison system thing. Because they keep on talking about how black men are in the prison. The Charles just said it about how people stay out the prison system.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some of the people that's in there don't deserve to be in there. And before I even realized that, I started looking at the ratio. I want to look at the racial demographic of prison systems from the institution of the penal system. And when that system was institutionalized, the penal system, it was maybe, you can look it up yourself, maybe 85 to 90% white. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say probably 85% white, 8% Native American, and maybe 3% black and Asian. That's what it was. They didn't need a penal code for black people because slavery and all this injustice was going on. They had enough rules and laws to keep us in control, like Pete said. But once we started getting rights, little by little, the judicial system started creating more rights that they could use to target us, to put us back in the penal system, to use us to continue making that bread, getting that dough. And so it evolved. And if you don't know your history, you won't understand how this evolved into what we're having today, and how the people in the prosecutors and district attorneys and judges, how they utilize this same plantation system to continue that free market. And that's why you have people like Microsoft having prisoners working for them for free or for wages that's worse than what's in China.
Good
so,
deal.
you know, we got to remember this evolution of this thing, and I actually understand that all the slavery that we think we know about, we don't know half of it.
Exactly. Man, anybody else have anything they want to say to this particular topic before we move on this way out Wednesday? I want to go around and find out.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, my thing is, it's such a. I think when I'm piggybacking what Rico was saying. I think that Black people, as the community wise, we stepped away from each other and family unit, and that helped the institutions. That helped the institutions grow. And they knew, and somebody knew somewhere to separate the man from the family. And this is the thing that helped the institutions grow. Now, if you've ever been, when you talk about, hey, some people don't belong in the prison system. When I was in prison, I did 5 years in prison. And I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm not being funny. I used to thank God that there was a prison system. Because some of the people that I saw in there, to me, I didn't want living next door to me. I didn't want living next door to my mama. I did not want them living next door to me. So even though I was in the prison system, I thank God that it was a prison system because of these people that were out in there. Now, you did have a few people, and when I'm talking about a few people who probably didn't fit in. You understand? They didn't fit in. But most of these guys you talk to, if not all of them that I talked to, because I went to like 3 different camps, didn't have a father in the house. They were warned by their mother, and they were raised by their mother or their grandmother. These cats had issues with the guards because they didn't like a man telling them what to do. So they brought in female guards. The system is full of female guards. So whether it was planned or something was planned. This just didn't happen. Something was planned to break up the family, to get the male away from the family, and get these prison systems filled. I don't know exactly what it is yet. I need to go and study more on it. But I know when I was in that system, I saw that. You understand? I saw that. And I've been in 2 government systems. I've been in prison and I've been in the military. And I'm telling you, guys act different that don't have their fathers in both systems.
Yeah.
In both systems.
Exactly. That's good.
So when you got families like, when I talk about the Asians a lot, they have their full families. When I'm not talking about just Asians like China Asians, I'm talking about like Asians as have been Indian Asians and all of them. They have their full families. And those people, they act different, man. They really do act different.
Absolutely.
They react different. They act different and they react different.
Good deal. 3 minutes, Charles. You gotta keep it moving, brother.
Thanks,
let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
I have nothing else to say on this subject.
Okay. Well, what we're about to do now, if anybody else have anything to say on this subject, let me know right now, because we're about to transition over. This is Way Out Wednesday, and I want to go around a little bit and see what's on everybody's heart. Anybody else have anything that's on this? Good deal. And we're trying to get Toya, connect your camera. Say your device is not connected. Let's go to Mary. Mary, what's on your heart? You got a topic you want to talk about this morning?
I have a few. You can pick whichever one you want.
I'm sorry?
I said I have, a couple.
Okay.
You can pick whichever one you want.
One of them say something about, I'm trying to read it here. Replica. What does it mean to fall for the replica? Explain that to me.
Well, that's why I asked because I know how to explain it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. When you say replica, is that like what exactly is that? Help me understand what that is.
Like not the real thing.
Okay. Okay. Just want to make sure I was clear. Okay. Let's deal with it now. And I'm gonna word it this way. How do you, Cassandra, I'm gonna come to you first with this. How do you know when you're falling for, how do you discover when you're falling for a replica, a person that's pretentious to be somebody that's supposed to be good for you, best for you, or whatever the case, but in reality they're really not? How do you discover that? How do you get to that point where you can say no? How do you get
Well,
there?
I mean, all I can do is, talk for myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's a spiritual thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a spiritual thing because people can give you the rope dope, and some people are so charismatic and charming and all this good stuff, and they full of crap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just being straight. But they getting over on people because they know how to talk and bullcrap you
Mm-hmm.
real good.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, when I'm dealing with people, I ask God to show me who people are,
Mm-hmm.
and that is your biggest way to figure out what is fake and what is real.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's always about God. I'm not sure, even if I'm not sure about what a person is about, I said, God, show me who they really are.
Mm-hmm.
And God will do it every time because he said, I would not have you ignorant concerning the devices of the enemy. So then he'll show you if you ask him. So you can think you ropey doping me with your bull, but I see right through people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one, I'm blessed with that.
Mm-hmm.
I see right through. You can have a whole church convinced that you one thing, but if I see something different, I'm gonna stick with exactly what God shows me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Toy, you would see what do you say to that?
I meant it more as like not specifically like a person. Like, so sorry if it's loud. That's why I didn't want to say too much because it's really loud here. But I don't really know how to explain the question to someone. It's just more so like it could be like your purpose. You think you know what it is, but it's really not. It's just like you're putting more into, I don't know, like
you're not traveling.
Wrong thing.
You're not traveling towards your destiny. You're actually putting other things in place of you traveling toward your destiny and what you're supposed to be doing in your life callings. Is that
It's the same, but it would be the same answer. Well, don't you think, Miriam? It would be the same answer. Spiritually, God is not going to lead you down a rabbit hole. He'll show you what your purpose and your destiny is. So it would be the same thing. If you're spiritual, God will show you what your purpose is, what your destiny is. Are you heading in the wrong direction?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say your answer was wrong. It's not.
No. I was just saying. Yeah, no. I'm not saying that you say, I'm wrong. I'm just saying the answer would be the same. A spiritual answer far exceeds anything that we may think. In our own self, what we know. Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify because I don't want everybody to answer in respect to
relationship
person.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, because it's not just relationships. So I was looking at a sermon and it was saying like, how do you know not fall for the replica? You should wait for the vision and all this stuff. So that's why I want to see what other people's perspective was.
Exactly. That's good. Toy, you want to see? What do you say to that?
So what was the question again?
How do you know when you're falling for make believe or fake, if you will, or in her way of question is, how do you know you're going down the wrong path? If your life destiny is to do this and your purpose in life is to do this, how do you know when you're off course?
I don't know. You just know. How do you know that it's God? You just know. You just know in your bones. You know what I'm saying? And I think sometimes we just know. We know from when we were little kids. We just know because that's who God is. But then we train ourselves to not believe ourselves. Or maybe sometimes other people help train us. Hey, you don't know that. Hey, you can't do this. You know what I'm saying? Your parents. people around you start to train you, and then now you don't know how to listen to yourself anymore, your instincts or your feelings. But I think you just know like something be telling you. We could all on this line talk about somebody that tried to pull a fast one on us or something that didn't work out, and we could all think like I said, I knew deep down in the pit that something wasn't right, but I just kept on. You know what I'm saying? So I believe like that's what that is. Like you just know deep down. But maybe sometimes you think it's the Christian thing to do, or the religious thing to do, or the family thing to do, or the employee thing to do, and you do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? But no, we have to pay attention to those things because that's possibly the God in you, depending on which God you're serving. You understand what I'm saying? The God in you is probably telling you, don't go there today, or don't do this, or don't do that. So, I think that falls in line with what we got going on. You kind of just know.
That's good. That's
I'm
good.
not doing that. You know what I'm saying? You're young. I'm not doing right. You know what I'm saying? But you either choose to keep on or not.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Leonard, what do you say to that, man? How do you know if you're not living your destiny or living the way that you're supposed to live or going in the direction that you think you should be going in? How do you know?
Well, first of all, you have to ask yourself, is there a problem with the direction that you're going in? What's the problem? Because if you want to do something different, you just do something different. A lot of people think that God is going to create the idea for you and all that, but God will really support those things that you choose to do. Those things that are righteous. So if you have a desire to do something, do that and ask God to bless that desire. It's not so much as God. A lot of people think that God just sitting around just handing out purposes and blah blah. I don't think it's like that. I think you can do whatever you would like within your dominion and what you create for yourself. And then you can ask God to strengthen and encourage you for that. But if you're just sitting around waiting on him to give you a mission, I wonder what you're doing with the rest of your life.
But I think, and this is just me talking. I think everybody has a certain purpose. I think everybody has a certain purpose of what they're supposed to be doing, or I'm not necessarily a purpose or an assignment. Everybody have an assignment, and if you walk in that assignment, it becomes so easy. Some people say on radio, maybe my assignment, it may be what I'm supposed to be doing. Do I want to do other things, or do I have a desire to do other things? Absolutely. But I think, and Rico, what do you say to this, brother? I think everybody have a certain assignment or position in their life, what they should be doing. Rico, you there? Okay, I think we might have lost Rico there for a second. Badger, talk to me, brother. How do you feel about assignments and everybody have a certain? I think everybody have an assignment. What do you think?
I mean, that's not the first place I took her question. Well, I was kind of looking at Mary's question from a non-spiritual standpoint. And looking at society as a whole. And observing that, like, there's a lot of people that say a lot of things about what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, how you're supposed to live, how you're not supposed to live, and it's crazy. Because if you look at expectations based on our society of what is acceptable and what is not, outside of spirituality, how are you supposed to look at the current situation that we're currently going through? Because as a whole, we are illusioned and misdirected in so many different ways, either by suggestions, like I brought up before, me being told I have less access to things because of my race. So if we take that I had to learn that that was fake. And there's still people trying to push that narrative on me. But I had to realize that that was fake in my own brain. Now, my heart and spirit is always guided by Great Spirit, but the brain can get in the way. So I'm looking at it from the point of view of how is our brain getting in the way of our callings. So that's why, like, I'm paying attention and looking at and observing. You know, I was thinking about her question, and I'm just like, how many of us took forever to get on our path because our brains got in the way because of the illusions and misdirections that are in our society?
Wow. Wow. Good deal. Good deal. Mary, did we answer your question? Mary?
Sorry, one second.
Did we answer your question?
Yes, you did.
Okay, good deal, good deal. Let's go. Let's go to Leonard. Question on your heart. Question on your heart. What, you have a question on your heart?
No, I don't. I missed Miri's question, but I caught on to the fact what she was talking about when you asked me about her round. But you know, one of the things that I'm interested in the most is if you were a leader, what would be your number one priority?
Wow. There's a lot of layers and a lot of the alleys there that I could go down. But let me pull some more people into this thing here. Rico, you back with us? Brother Pete, you are a leader. What are some of the things you concentrate on?
I'm a leader. What are some of the things I would concentrate on?
Yes.
Correct?
Is that the question, Leonard?
Yes. I mean, you actually got some power to make some change.
I would focus on individual and collective responsibility, individual rights, commerce, citizen as in commerce rights, the cohesiveness of my local societal establishment, encouraging the different ones how they can work together more, live together in peace more, produce more from our intellect, our ability, and create opportunities to acquire skills and knowledge, and see what could we produce from all that we really possess to our complete and total betterment.
That's good. That's good. Badger?
Oh man, I was sitting here thinking, I'm like, I would.
Toya, you up next.
Probably personally interview every single person that's up there in the White House and ask them some very pointed questions. I'd also make a law saying that the corporation is not allowed to fund anyone that represents the people. And then I'd focus on the communities and making sure every household has access to healthcare, including psychological.
Wow.
Because I feel if we take the corruption out of the government and put things in the community that are actually going to help the community, America would become stronger.
That's
Because
good.
we could actually start standing together.
Okay.
However, the only thing that, I'd still be concerned about is how fast I'd be able to stay alive. Because they'd probably kill me pretty quick.
Wow. Good deal. Toya with a T. What would be your area of focus, if
I'm
you
on
will?
here, right?
Huh? Okay. All right.
Said I'm.
Toya, what would be your area of focus? You're in leadership. You're making the power. You make the decisions. You got this. Toya, we can't hear you. Something going on with your volume. Okay. Go out and come back in. Go out and come back in, and then hopefully that should fix it for us. Go, okay. Curtis, talk to me, brother.
Well, I mean, same question.
Yes.
I'd have two main focuses that I think would completely change, well, three main focuses that would completely change the whole scope and the trajectory of American society.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, the education. That's number one. Number two would be corruption.
Mm-hmm.
I would put all of these corruptive actions on blast, and I would show people why I consider them corruption. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Not hiding any info, any information. And last but not least, as a leader, definitely promote and try my best to extend the idea of community, like Brad was saying. Really get a full explanation of the corruption that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
In the community and see how that corruption has been making money off of them being divided.
Mm-hmm.
More money for the corrupt. If the community is saying, nah, what you're doing ain't right. You know, that's just my platform.
Mm-hmm.
The education thing is definitely key. And it's primarily through the history, the miseducation. Some people would say the miseducation of the Negro, but the miseducation goes far beyond the Negro. That's how the masses continue to control the given society. Is they done miseducated their own. You know, teaching a lie. People live their lives according to the lie. So that's where I would go.
Good deal. Toy, you want to I see we got you back on the phone line, sister. What are you going to do about this thing? You in charge, Toy. You make the calls. What are you going to concentrate on?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing I would concentrate on, I would do it the same way they did it. The first thing they focused on was economics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they focus on building the place and getting it. So that's the first thing I would too. First thing I'm going to do, we're going to do a review of the economics of the people we have. Because first of all, if we don't get people set up in situations where we can maneuver and do something, ain't nothing else going to roll. We already know the way to get the people to like you, the majority is go ahead and fix the problems. They rolling with you. That's how you assume leadership. To fix the actual problems that's there. So for me, I'm going for economics. Let's fix this minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make sure that these jobs are not reflecting slavery type tactics still. Let's adjust these taxes. Let's really scale down and see how much we make and where is it going and are they allocated in the proper places. And if not, let's make it do so. That's what I'm starting with first and foremost, fixing the issues. And then I'm going to start weeding out people throughout the system. Because we keep going into a system that's working. Again, the system is a system that we follow. We all follow systems and forms. As a broadcaster, you're going to follow a system in order to do broadcasting. All of us follow systems.
Yes.
We corrupt the system. So we got to take away the corruption. So that means I got to be non-corrupt. So come on, let's fix the people. Let's make the money. Let's make sure people got housing. Let's make sure that they're healthy. Let's make sure that they're educated. And then we're going to move on to issues that might be harmful. Our military, our policing, what are we doing? Some of these things need to be put in a priority, and the people is the first priority.
Exactly.
And that's where, we keep going around in circles. Oh, what about global warming? Once I fix y'all, we can get to that. You understand what I'm saying? Once we fix the people, we can get to global warming in each place. There are systems and programs that they can put in place right now. I'm going to give you one right now, right? Water filtration systems around the homes. Catch your own rainwater and drain it. What's up? You understand what I'm saying? What's up with this food? There are so many things that we need to focus on in order to get the people structured. Then we can scale back on corporations, because even as a leader, my job is still not to focus on the people. I have to try to make sure that this thing is monotone between people and government and corporation and things of that nature. As long as you're going for the right thing, you take your chances. with the death threats. But that's where I will go first, economics, and then I will work my way back.
Good deal. Good deal. Tucson, what would be your area of concentration? You're the shot caller. You starting this whole thing all over again. You're the shot caller. What would be your area of concentration, Tucson?
Oh man, I should have never called back. Look.
Yes, sir.
Waste.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say waste, these overpaid bureaucrats that give themselves a raise while their community suffers.
Come on.
If you need that type of money, we really can't use you.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's the first thing. That part of that. Okay, so then this unnecessary funding for retired after, is it even true that some politicians serve a term and then get paid for the rest of their lives? Is that even true?
Yes.
Okay. And let me ask you another question. Do those that have security continue to have their own security team?
Now that I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay, let me ask the question.
No, the security is a limited time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 2 things. If it shouldn't take that. I know it takes a lot of effort to be those that are intelligent enough to run this country or run a city or a state or whatever the case may be. I think it takes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure that if you give a person a decent salary, another person, not the same person, for a couple of years, or 2 terms, and give them that, you shouldn't have to be able to have all of these people, these lobbyists and all these other people that's in there, and they allow the people to suffer while they make all the money.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of that first, and then the retirement, all of that money is a waste to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you do that, then maybe we can fix some of the other issues.
Exactly.
With the money that we saving from that.
From having to pay you.
That's just me.
Exactly. Let me keep this thing going. Let me see who else I got. Cassandra, how you gonna run this thing?
My focus would be civil and human rights.
Mm-hmm.
Those would be the things, because if we can get those things, I think, established in this country, I think a lot of the problems can be worked out. Civil and human rights,
mm-hmm.
because until everyone has the equal justice, until everyone has equal opportunities. And we, I hate when people say, hey, everybody can do it. You can do whatever you want. No, you can't. Mm-hmm. No, you can't. If it was that easy, if just you wanting to do it and you even fighting toward doing it, you could just achieve the American dream. No, we wouldn't have any ghettos. We wouldn't have people struggling. We wouldn't need the welfare system. Everybody does not and will never. And if you believe that, then you don't believe the Bible, because mm-hmm. the Bible says the poor we have with us always,
mm-hmm.
always.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that they're going to be, and the Bible also says that we should help the orphans and the widows. So then, either we want to believe it and we are going to try to have programs and different things in place, which is what I would want to do, where people can be, those that really need the help could get help. Mm-hmm. Those that really need health care can get health care, can have health care.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to suffer because you don't have the money to pay for cancer treatments. You don't have the money to pay for, I'll be off the grid because I'm like Badger. They probably kill me within the first week.
Wow, wow. Let's go to someone else for a question. Let me go to Pete. What's your question, brother? Brother Pete, you there?
What's yeah, I'm trying to think of my question. How do you receive or perceive love?
Wow. Wow. Toy, you with a T?
Love is show me better than you can tell me. You know, love is not always a thing. Sometimes it's just being there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, you know, my father didn't have much money, but I know he loved me.
Yes.
I couldn't get all the clothes everybody else got, but I know he loved me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Versus where when I got to the family part of the household where people did buy me stuff, I'm not so sure if they love me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's a show me kind of thing. It's not always about sticking money in somebody's face either, even though I like money.
Mm-hmm.
I like money. I like to buy stuff. I like to do it in return as well. You know, but what about when I'm starting my food truck? Are you there on that first day? Are you there helping me get the food? You know, that's what you really showing me you love me. You know what I'm saying? You there to take me out and you're there to do this and you're there to do that. But now I want to start my food truck. You gonna put that work in with me?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You gonna promote with me?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You gonna go hard for me, like this is yours. You know what I mean? So for me, my love is kind of just like mine because I'm gonna be there for you no matter what. And if I can get there, I'm going to get there. However I can help you, I'm always going to share. I'm always going to go to the next level. I'm always going to keep it real for you. And I'm never going to tell you or suggest anything to you that can harm yourself, even if I do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to allow you to do it. You know what I'm saying? So my version of love is totally different than a lot of other people's, man. And that's why I stay kind of, you know, by myself because everybody, they got their own perceptions. They got their own, you know, things of love. And they go from there. But for me, show me better than you could tell me.
Yeah.
And it got nothing to do with money.
Exactly. Exactly. Rico, what do you say to that, man? Definition
Hey,
of
bro. How you feeling? I'm doing okay.
Kurt, mute your phone. Mute your phone, Kurt. Kurt, mute your phone. Okay, go ahead, Rico.
Is that what the question was? What's the definition of love?
Recite the question. Pete, recite your question, brother.
How do you receive or perceive love?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. How do I perceive it? Love. I perceive it as something that's pretty much unconditional. Yeah, I'm gonna say unconditional, and it has some loyalty to it, some dedication.
Mm-hmm.
And when you receive that loyalty or that dedication from that person, that unconditional loyalty, then you start realizing, okay, you know what, man, this person must really believe in me, support me.
Mm-hmm.
And when they believe in you and support you and they're there for you for every step, everything that you're going through, they got your back. That's love.
Yeah.
So I think love is actually really seen in the type of support system that you have. You know, you could put a certain amount of energy out, but are you receiving that same amount of energy? Is it being reciprocated? If not, then those people might not love you as much as you love them. See, love actually has to be done through actions and work, not words to me.
Mm-hmm.
See, I could tell somebody I love them all day long, don't mean nothing. But then when they call me and say, hey, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? Can you do that? I ain't got time. I always got better things to do.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe if I'm having a good time, I got something good going on, I invite people that mean something to me, but then I forget them. They may have been the one that was there for me more than these other people, though.
Exactly.
I got the popular and the rich people there. So, you know, they realize then, you know what, man, not only do they not appreciate my support or my love, but they don't love me the same. But they show you then who they really want to enjoy this occasion with and who they want to celebrate this with. And they're going to 9 times out of 10 celebrate it with the people that they love the most.
Exactly. Exactly. Wow. That's good. Leonard?
Yes, sir.
Let's tackle this one, brother. What's on your heart?
Love to me is simply just a feeling of genuine concern, a feeling of genuine concern that you're willing to act upon. and someone else's benefit. And that's what I think. It's just a huge benefit
Mm-hmm.
that I receive from the Creator to give to other people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Wow.
get into all the other different things about it in its purest form. To me, it's just that.
Mm-hmm.
It's an
Mm-hmm.
over. I mean, it's an almost inordinate these days. Whereas just genuine concern and the willingness to do for other people.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Badger, what do you say to it?
Love?
Yes.
What was the exact question?
Mm. Badger, you ain't been listening, have you? Pete,
Uh,
repeat your
How
question.
do you perceive or receive love?
ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, it's God, dude. I wasn't expecting that. Um, wow. It that's really difficult
Mm-hmm.
because to me, looking at the perspective of what love, I had to learn how to feel love from my wife because I honestly just didn't know any better. Um, so I think a lot of that's going to be on perspective of how a person is able to perceive it. Because I think some of us don't know how to receive it,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes a while to learn how to receive it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm just sitting here thinking about depth, and I'm like, wow, okay. Um, and that even goes from, can be related to Great Spirit too, because you have to learn how to love yourself before you can really accept love from anyone else or from Spirit.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, what do you say to that?
Yeah, this is something for me that I have battled most of my life, receiving love, because many of us, we still to this day don't know how to receive love.
Yes,
We
absolutely.
do.
Yep.
You
A
know,
lot of people. Yep.
and it sounds simple. It sounds
Mm-hmm.
simple. Well, if somebody loves you, you just take that love. No,
Mm-hmm.
no, because it's based on your experiences,
Mm-hmm.
how you feel about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
All of those are factors in how a person would receive or even perceive love.
Yeah.
So for me, I've had a lot of abuse. So I have to really, check myself. Like, I have a problem with people to this day doing things out of love for me,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, okay, is there a motive? And then
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
over love people sometimes, and
Mm-hmm.
there is such a thing as over loving people, and they go like, well, why would you do that for me? Why are you
Mm-hmm.
being so nice? So
Mm-hmm.
it's a sort of touchy question.
Yeah, it is. It is. Public Citizen said this right here. Rico, if you don't mind, brother, will you? And then comment on it.
Where it says 1 John chapter 4, verse 16. God is love, and all who live in love live in God, and God lives in them. God is love, and he who abides in love abides in God, and God in him. God is love, and he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God in him. I don't know if that's going to pretty much relate to what I was thinking, but I was also thinking about loving somebody with the same energy that you love yourself, or
Mm.
maybe loving a stepchild or somebody else's child just as much as you love your own child.
Mm-hmm.
You know, love it, you know, like I said, loving your child as much as you love yourself. Do your children love you as much as they love themselves? You know, can you overlove them? Can you what's the difference between infatuation and love? Do you love other people more than you love yourself? If you do, then that probably is infatuation. That's not love. But I'm all with that. You know, to me, it has to be reciprocated, and at the same time, to me, it's so automatic. It can be deep, but at the same time, it's not authentic if it's not the same feeling that you have for another person's life as you have for your own. That means that you might sacrifice yourself for this person. See, everybody ain't gonna sacrifice themselves for every individual on this planet.
Exactly.
But for some people, I give it all up and throw it all away for them.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
love them.
Beat up a rock and put a brick in the hospital.
Man, when I say give it up,
yes, sir.
That means
Yes,
I'm
sir.
giving up my life so
Mm-hmm.
their life can go on in progress and be better. So that's very huge and to be honest with you, sort of simply put in that form. How much sacrifice would you do? Like Toya said, when she opened up her food truck and then you go to help her, would you be as interested and motivated to make sure everything was right just as much as she is, like it was yours because you want her to succeed? Because if you look at what she has going on with the same eye that she does, then that means you must really love her. You must really support her and want her to succeed. But if you just sit there just to say, I helped.
Yeah.
Now you might love them a little bit, but if you in that joke and you can run it and they don't even have to be there and they know they can depend on you, you don't prove to them. You know what, man? I could go halfway across the world and these people gonna be able to handle all my business for me and do it the way that I want to be done. That's love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Curtis, are you with us? Curtis, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay. What
Right
do you
here, bro.
what do you say to that with your mouth full of food?
What is love for me?
How do you receive and perceive love?
Unconditionally, brother.
You ain't been listening either, have you?
You know, for me, you know, love is the most powerful force in the world. You're welcome. It's the most powerful force in the world. It's the most powerful that exists.
Is it more is it more powerful than hate?
Absolutely. Folks may not believe that, but it is.
Okay.
It is. Hate has never caused resolve. Love will always cause resolve. Love is, although we want to believe that it's kind, it's not sometimes. You know, it's just, to me, man, in my opinion, it's the most powerful force in the universe.
Okay. Good deal. Cassandra, I'm coming back to you for I'm circling back around to you real quick. Let me ask you this one question. Is love more powerful than jealousy? Cassandra, you there? I think Cassandra might have stepped away. She's fighting down that mute button. Leonard, what do you say to that? Is love more powerful than jealousy?
Yes.
Mm.
I mean, I don't have a
You said more
problem.
powerful than what?
Jealousy.
Yes.
Jealousy.
Okay.
We said God was love, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, that in a nutshell, that ends it right there. Our public citizen had a question. I want to pose this question that he have on here. I want to get him involved in what we're doing here. This is his question right here. What is the difference between meditation and prayer? I meditate to help me get clear on issues. So what is he's asking the question, what is the difference between meditation and prayer? Leonard, would you want to respond to that?
Well, from practicing meditation and prayer, meditation is more so when you listen. Prayer is when you make requests and petition, and you're speaking to and you're addressing a deity most of the time during
Mm-hmm.
prayer, whereas meditation is just listening. You can meditate on a certain point if you choose. You can meditate on fresh air.
Mm.
You can meditate on walking. You can meditate on a lot of different things. But prayer is specific. It's a petition, usually to a deity
Mm-hmm.
or a request. You don't make no rules, you don't make no commands.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's good. Rico?
I agree all the way 100%, man. I mean, you think about it. I really don't know how to pray. And
Mm-hmm.
really and truly, when you're praying, you have to think about the things that you want to pray for. Like you said, Leonard said, you're making requests. So you're thinking about the things that you want to press and request, and you're thinking about the people that you want to pray for and that you want him to bless and look over. All that is connecting. You got to think. When you meditate, you ain't thinking about nothing. You trying to
Mm-hmm.
get all that out your mind. You trying to connect with everything natural, universal, spiritual, anything on another level that you can be distracted. I mean, that you are distracted from because you are thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking. So that to me, that's the difference. You know what I'm saying? You're making a request, and you're also thinking about what it is you want to request. When you're meditating, you're trying not to think about anything. You're trying to clear your brain and just get on a complete openness.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's good. So what do you say to that? The difference between prayer and meditation.
Yeah, no, we going in the right direction. Prayer is normally, to some type of force. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be yourself, I pray they win, I pray to something else, request, maybe one of thanks, there's different types of prayer. But yeah, when it comes to meditation, it's normally focusing on a specific thing, meditate on a specific subject or,
Mm-hmm.
A certain place, a certain piece, whatever it is, let me meditate on that. You know what I'm saying? So even though, they walk hand in hand, like a lot of things in life, there is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Prayer can be probably a little bit more um, purposeful versus where, meditation is a little bit more individual.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We all might not meditate on the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Versus where we may all, pray on the same thing because, like everyone's saying, it's like a petition in place of, or again, a prayer of thanks, a prayer of thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? A proclamation. You know what I'm saying? But they both interfold. You know what I'm saying? So they are definitely different.
Wow, that's good. And yes, absolutely they are. Mary, what do you say to that? What is the difference between prayer and meditation?
Okay, I just jumped in. But I don't know. Off the top of my head, I would probably say prayer is a connection, like you talking to God. It's like your communication.
Mm-hmm.
And I think meditation is more like spiritual, like you just try to I don't know, center yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more. I don't know. I don't know how to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really bad at explaining things. I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. The best way I could say it is your prayer is your communication with God, and then your meditation, in my opinion, would be you just kind of getting yourself together to pray.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Like blocking everything out.
Mm-hmm. So it's almost like I'm hearing you say you might want to meditate a little bit to free yourself before you go into the prayer.
I think it's really important to.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to meditate if you don't want to, but I think it's important to at least. Because when I'm having a conversation with somebody, I'm not trying to think of everything when I'm talking to a natural person on earth. So I wouldn't want to do that to God either.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm talking to God, I like to just be there, present in the moment. But I don't meditate before I talk to people. You don't have to meditate before, but if that's my best description of meditating, I would say that you should clear your mind. Everybody usually says that when they pray, or a lot of people do, when they'll say like clear your heart and your mind. It's because you don't want the distraction, and you don't want anything. You don't want the negative thoughts or anything. It's just your conversation with God, but it should be as pure as it can be. So that's the best way I could explain it.
Good deal.
But someone else may have a better
Okay, that's good. That's good. Badger, what do you say?
You know, to me, praying is putting everything on God, and meditation is communicating and figuring out a way to work with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at least in my opinion. Um, it's like when what I do, you know, what people would consider praying is I give thanks. I give thanks for it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ask for it. I give thanks for it, like it already exists.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Um, so and it's I forgot the terminology. Um, oh, what is that called? Putting the thought out there and trusting in Great Spirit to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, to you know, before you do that, you sit there and you weigh, and you go through a process like a ceremony, which
Mm-hmm.
is like a meditation to make sure everything in you is in the right place, and then you talk to Great Spirit.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So at least that's my opinion and how I do things.
Mm-hmm. Pete, what do you say to that? What's the difference?
Meditation is a centering, gathering, realizing, comprehending, controlling, possessing from the inside, going out. Prayer is more so going out for something to come in.
Mm. Mm.
So I would articulate it like that.
Pete,
You
Pete,
meditate to control.
let me step in 1 second, brother. And I don't mean to step in, but man, you just said something right there. So my thing is a cup. If there's a cup on the table, which one is filling the cup and which one is emptying the cup?
Hmm. If it's a cup on the table, which
Yes,
one is filling the cup and which
yes.
one is emptying the cup?
Because from what you just said, you know,
Well,
that's what came to me like that cup.
came to your mind.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Hmm.
sir. Come on.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I think I draw on what you're saying, but yeah, that's kind of how I perceive it. Like I say, meditation is a gathering and collecting of yourself and what's really in you, all that you really are,
So that's filling the cup.
and controlling it. Recognizing it,
Mm-hmm.
identifying it,
Mm-hmm.
uh, entertaining it, exercising it, controlling it, and then it's projected out.
Mm-hmm.
So you can work on your breathing and while you're meditating, and as you go through the day, you can maintain another level of control of your breathing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
your mental focus.
Yes.
You can meditate on it with your mental focus, and throughout the day, maintain a higher level of mental focus. But when
Mm-hmm.
we're praying, we're speaking out to something,
Mm-hmm.
God, but let's say to something, and asking it to do something and bring it back in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm asking you to bless this problem. I'm asking you to heal this sickness. I'm asking you to comfort this grieving individual. I'm asking you to fix this problem. I'm asking you to give me patience, give me faith, give me belief, give me a mind, a heart, a spirit to be obedient. I'm asking that out for it
Mm-hmm.
to come back in.
Yes, sir.
But meditating is saying you're going to be obedient within yourself and aligning yourself from within yourself and going out from you
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
obedience.
That's good.
And with that particular example.
Good deal. Good deal. Cassandra, what do you say to it? How do you equate what we're talking about right now?
Yeah, no, I agree with everyone actually that is giving their input. Meditation for me is important because it harnesses. I- You know, there's a saying, to thine own self be true. Because of who I am in the way God made me, which I'm still working on that at 62. There are certain things about me that I know I can go totally rogue if I don't harness it. And for me, prayer and meditation are the two things to do that. I have to focus in like, no, I'm not gonna knock your head off, even though that sounds like what you're asking for. And prayer helps me to get into that place. God, I don't ask God to give me patience, because the way that God teaches you, I ask God to help me to do it myself. Because if God does it, you ain't gonna like it sometime. Because for some of us to get patience, it's gonna take something that you don't want to see, not from God. So it's better for us to, focus on those things. So I, through prayer, ask God to show me, you know what I'm saying? Don't you do it. Just show me what I need to do, and I'll work on those things. But prayer and meditation is essential to keep yourself under control.
That's good. That's good. Curtis, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay. What's your take on this, brother? Prayer and meditation, man. What is the difference?
Well, I'm not going to say that I know, because I thought that meditation was a form of prayer. I've always meditation was a preparatory form, to be more specific. I've always thought that if you was to put it in a proper sequence, you should meditate before and meditate after prayer. You should meditate before to open the spirit, then you say your prayer, and then you meditate after to open your spirit for a response. We'll pray for something, we pray, we say amen, and we move on. We get distracted and we don't even hear God's response. And then by the time we done made a decision to go in a totally different direction, it's like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. So I've always thought that meditation was a form of prayer, and specifically a preparatory form. But I mean, I get that wrong. I'm not. I don't own the patent on the definition of the two.
Exactly. Good deal. Good deal. Let me
I
go
have
to.
a question.
Okay.
I don't know who just answered, but it's a question for them. So okay, I understand what you're saying. My question is though, I feel like sometimes the answer takes a bit of time. So how do you know? Because not everything is a quick answer. You know what I mean? So how do you know? Pretty much, how do you know which voice is the right one? Because when I ask everybody, like, oh, it's calm, oh, it's gentle, oh, it's this and that. But I mean, my voice to myself in my head is the same. So how do you know?
That's a beautiful question. And I'm gonna take a jab at it, and I'm gonna go around and everybody else give their interpretation of it as well. A lot of times you have to know the word of God. It's important to know the word of God, and if that voice is telling you something that goes against the word of God, then it's not of God. If that voice is telling you to do something that is not moral or ethically right or whatever the case, if that voice is telling you to do something that's going to be harmful to somebody, I don't think that's the voice of God. That's just me.
On that theory, but on that theory, the devil knows the Bible too.
Say it one more time. The
Because
devil.
he was once an angel himself. So I feel like, because there are times where because now I journal every day. Sometimes I'll, I always post something, whether it's a scripture, whether it's a gospel song, it's always a quote of something, even if it has nothing to do with my day, just as a, to feed into my spirit. So sometimes I'll feel like a verse is telling me to do something, I'll do it, and then it wasn't the right thing to do. It was just because I feel like not every verse can be compared to every situation, but you can if you perceive it that way. So it's like I never know which exactly is the right voice, because it's like, okay, I'll be told you something, I'll be told you something else. I'm like, okay, I don't know who's who.
Well,
I don't know if it's me, I don't know if it's the devil, I don't know if it's God talking to me to tell me. So it's like, how do you confirm that, okay, this one is the right one? And I've even prayed on the answers that I've been given to be like, okay, which one now? And still, sometimes it's the right one, sometimes I choose the wrong one, and it's like I've tried to choose the most gentle voice, and that got me in trouble too. So I don't know.
Okay, let's go around and have someone to answer those. Now, did you have that question for somebody in particular, or you want me to just take it around?
I had a question for whoever said meditate after for an answer, because I feel like, because I've been told that this is the first time I heard that.
Okay.
So I've also done that where it was like, okay, I'm going to build my prayer life up. So I would be in a quiet place, read my Bible, read a verse. I used to send y'all a verse every morning. I would read the Bible. That's my verse of the day. I'm going to prep my text. I sit in the morning, I'll pray, and then I'll wait. And sometimes I wasn't given the right answer. So it's like, how do you, even if you wait and get an answer that time, or you're like, okay, well, I'm going to wait for you whenever you're ready to let me know, and then you get the wrong answer because it's the wrong person, but you don't know that. So how do you know which voice is the right voice?
Exactly. Well, the person that was just talking was Curtis, so I'm gonna go to Curtis first and let him expound on it, and then we'll get some more people's interpretation. Curtis, what's on your heart, brother?
Well, that is a really good question.
Yes.
And it's not a question that I honestly can answer outside of the fact that I know what that voice feels like. I know how it vibrates my spirit, and how the evil voice vibrates my spirit too. And I accept the honesty in both voices. But I do want to say this, that the voice that you hear yourself speak with is not the voice that you hear in your mind. Raheem, hey man, you might want to send that to Nisi and let her see it when she get a chance. But I had the blessing to bring it back up. I hadn't seen it in a while, but KRS-One did this little thing about understanding the spirit of God in so many words. And he had people read like a little cue card that said rock star. But he told them, do not read this cue card with the utterance of sound. Basically, read it to yourself. And after they did that, he asked them, did they hear it? And everybody agreed that they heard it. But then he asked them, he said, well, how did you hear it? Because sound is moved through waves. You didn't make any wave in the air. So what was the voice that you heard? Who was that? So the way I took it was, his overall explanation is understanding the God in you. And when he speaks to you, understand the vibration that it causes in your spirit. And that's the voice that you should be listening to. That's the voice that you should be moving with. That's the voice that you should acknowledging when you hear it, hearing true sound. So that's the only thing equated to. Like, I can't equate it to anything tangible, because God is above tangible things. You know what I mean? God is seen and unseen, heard and not. You know what I mean? So
exactly,
that's a really good question.
Exactly, it is. Cassandra. Cassandra, you there?
Yeah. I want to just keep my answer pretty simple. And I'm gonna go back to the Bible, because that's what I know best. The Bible says the sheep know the shepherd's voice, and a stranger they will not follow. As our intimate relationship with God becomes stronger, we can discern whether it's God speaking to us, whether we're talking for ourselves, whether we're giving our own self an answer, or whether it's the enemy trying to influence us in some way. So for me, it's just as we develop our, and this is for everybody. I don't care how long you've been saved. As you develop your intimacy with God, your discernment becomes clearer and clearer and clearer, and you should be able to detect immediately in your spirit whether something is of God or whether it's the enemy or whether it's you. That's my simple version.
And I'm gonna paint a picture. And I'm gonna go to somebody else because I want to hear everybody's explanation on this right here. But different things come to my mind sometime, and this came to my mind when you were saying what you was just saying, Cassandra. If there's 100 fathers, if there's 100 fathers out in a gathering in a park somewhere, and a little 3-year-old girl holler out, "Dad, Dad!" I guarantee you, whoever daughter that is you're gonna get the biggest response from that person. It sounds crazy, but I'm silly enough to believe that there's a connection, and because of the fact that there's a connection, we also have that connection to God. We just gotta, like Cassandra said, recognize the voice. And once we build that relationship, once that relationship is built and established, you know who it is. You know who it is that's talking to you. Rico, what do you say to that, brother?
Honestly, man, on this topic right here, man, I'm gonna just go ahead and let you go to the next person. I'm gonna listen on this one because y'all talking a whole lot about praying and stuff like that, man. And the way I look at this is totally different. Yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and let you go to the next person on that.
Okay, good deal. Toy, you want to
Yeah. So I think what I've learned, with listening to God, because I've done a lot. You know what I'm saying? But most importantly, you have to be real with yourself. Because God can ask you to do some strange things, but the thing you need to know about God is you need to know who He is first to know if it's Him telling you to do that. And I'm gonna give you an example. If your parent tell you don't stay out all night, and that's the rule, because God has a set of rules that He's already given us. And then you ask, well, Dad, can I stay out till 1 o'clock? And he'd be like, yeah, go ahead, stay out 1 o'clock. Sure you can. You know if your father playing or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know that that's not the rule. And you, with your logicness, was the age, was it this, was it that, or whatever it is, you know that that's a no-go. And if you do it anyway, that's on you. So you can trick yourself to believe that, oh, God told me to do that or whatever, but deep down in your root and in your bones if it's God or not. I think being young, sometimes you do things and the response is what makes you think, oh, well, God couldn't have told me to do that because it didn't turn out like this. That does not mean that. Because God gives everybody a job to do and everybody don't do their job. So just because you do something and it doesn't turn out the way you thought it should because God told you, don't mean that God did not tell you to do that. Because He's talking to multiple people at different times.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But just look for the keys of steal, kill, and destroy. If what you are asked to do involves stealing, killing, and destroying, you know that is the enemy.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? That's your easiest way to determine that is not God. Is if what you're doing is about to have you stealing, killing, or destroying anything that you get ready to go through next.
Exactly. Tucson, what do you say to this? Tucson?
I tread carefully.
Yes, sir.
And just because what do, and I'm reminded of several things, because even the prophet can be wrong when it comes to what God said. And why I say that is because David wanted to build, and I'm going to do as quick as I possibly can. David wanted to build God's a house, but he had blood on his hands. Samuel, I think it was, told him, go ahead, that's good. Oh, yeah, that's good. Had to come back and say, no, hold up, no. God said no. There are some people that gonna wind up and just, it's not a curse word. they're gonna wind up having asses talking to them because they tried to cause God to contradict himself.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is because we want to do something that we know that don't line up with his word. And he says no, and we go back and we ask him the same question again. And he can be kind of sarcastic and funny sometimes. Since we ask again, he say, go ahead. But that don't line up with what he says. And what I'm saying about that is, remember when the donkey talked to the man because he was going to curse God's people. Well, here's what he says in that. I'm going to bless you, those that bless you, and curse those that curse you. So how you going to go out just because prominent people come to you and try to do something that's contradictory to what he has already said? That don't make no sense.
Yeah.
So in hearing and reading and studying and praying and trying to act upon what God wants us to do, it will never contradict his will for you.
Exactly.
Never. I don't care how you feel about it. I don't care who told you that. I don't care how they feel about it. I mean, what they say, how much reading they've done, it don't make no difference. You can pray till you're blue in the face.
That's
and
good.
I say that because we try to pray our faith. You can't pray your faith. You can't do it. Pray. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God, not by praying.
Yes, sir.
So I mean, I can go on and on, but I won't.
That's good. That's good. Pete, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
There will come a time when we will worship God, neither here nor there, but in spirit and in truth. He gives his spirit to them that obey him. Right? My sheep know my voice. Right? We're talking about the necessity of a relationship, a personal relationship. And through that relationship, in the communication, the interacting, you will know when you're having a conversation or an interaction with the God. You will know.
Yeah.
You will just know. That's the miraculousness, the mysteriousness, the unintelligible, interpretable, or whatever describableness of this reality, of this thing with this God that we talk about and his administration. Relationship.
Yes, sir.
So if you're not sure, well, who's the author of confusion? Does the God do everything in perfection? He don't do nothing half-heartedly. So if confusion is there, and you know who's the author of confusion, you already know who's there.
Exactly. Exactly. Good deal.
God doesn't do confusion. But in order to fully, comfortably possess, digest, comprehend, got to tighten up on that relationship.
Good deal. Leonard, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Raheem.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say to everybody on here, thank y'all, because y'all really blessed my spirit today. As we was talking and these questions has arisen, I'm living my day under the rule of Ezekiel 30, chapter 2. Specific pinpoint assignment as to the last sentence of chapter 2. We all have heard the scripture so many times. We all have heard the first part of the scripture so many times. I swear to God, I thought both my grandma was come back and stood right beside me. Right? But I just thank y'all just for enlightening
Yes,
my
sir.
spirit. And even that
Praise God.
question
Praise
that
God.
Nisi had
Mm-hmm.
was even more enlightening.
Mm-hmm.
As far as to push the idea that as long as you're standing with a nation, as long as you're standing in community, it's going to be all right. That God is assembling a community.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I wanted to say that, man. I gotta go.
Hey, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, brother. Hey, let me go to Leonard. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Man, just listening is good for people to know. I'm one of them type of people who believe, like I said, usually, as long as what you want is righteous, you ask
Mm-hmm.
for strength in pursuing that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely get into being what you were created to be,
Yes.
a free will being.
Mm-hmm.
And what glorifies you more is when you put your will in His will and you start making those choices that are righteous. God
Mm-hmm.
does not make bad choices.
Exactly. Exactly.
So if the choice is turning out bad, that means that one, it's something you have done.
Mm-hmm.
That's something you have willed into your life. I think sometimes too many people rely on God for some of the simplest things. If He gave you the power to do something, you should use that power responsibly. And one of those powers is the power to choose.
Mm-hmm.
The power to choose. Trust me, if
Absolutely.
God has something extraordinary for you to do, He'll give you explicit details and tell you exactly how to do it. If you believe that you're some type of special person from wherever,
Mm-hmm.
God is going to speak to you differently, and you should expect something differently.
Timbuktu
But
me.
now, if you hear a whole bunch of people,
Mm-hmm.
trust none of them.
Exactly. Exactly. Toussaint, you had something else on your heart, brother?
Yeah, I just thought about something. You know, something things we want to keep secret, like God don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But the scripture says, acknowledge Him in all your ways, and He will direct your path.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need direction, keep it clean, keep it honest,
That's right.
because that's what He is.
Mm-hmm.
And if it lines up, He gonna do His part. I
Yeah.
promise you.
Mm-hmm.
He said, if He said it, He gonna carry it out.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, what we do is try to manipulate Him into working out our cause, and it don't work like that.
Mm-mm. Not at all. Wow, it's been a great broadcast, man. We overtime. Now we're ready to get on out of here. Leonard, what's going on at 3:00 today?
Man, if you did not get a chance to hear this show in its entirety, log on to www.dkmmediagroup.com at 3:00 Eastern today.
Good deal. Good deal. Let's go to Cassandra. Are you in a situation where you can pray us out today? Cassandra?
Who you say?
Cassandra. Miss Green.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you said me. Can I please ask for a special prayer request if everyone would keep some of you may know, some may not, that I'm getting ready to get a foster care child, a friend of mine's child out of foster care. She's 11 years old, and the friend died last night. So please, the child has been suicidal already. She's only 11. She's tried to kill herself already in foster care. So I'm asking, because they're going to have to tell her that he died last night.
Wow.
And so please keep her in your prayers.
Absolutely.
And the family.
Absolutely.
Father, we just thank you right now for everything that has been said and done. God, I ask you to saturate everyone under the sound of my voice with your spirit, God, with your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of all things. God, I thank you right now that even though we don't understand everything that we may need to do, God, if we continue to seek your face, your purpose will be made clear to each and every one of us. We're living in a time where we need to know where we're headed, where we came from, and what we're supposed to be doing right now. I ask you to bless DKM Media. I ask you to bless every member of this panel. Give them a special blessing, God, just because their hearts are to serve your people, to enlighten your people, and to bring the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to your people. These and all other blessings I ask and pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. It's been a great broadcast, man. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank everybody for allowing DK and Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now 10:04. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. That we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Take care of each other. Love you. And please stay blessed.